Hey FlossTube, this is Brian. Welcome back. This is my 24th FlossTube video, and I plan on giving you an update of my stitching for the year of 2017. But first of all, I want to welcome everybody. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the things that I have to share with you today. If you are returning, welcome also. Thank you so much for coming back. And I want to thank you for all of your comments, for all of your likes, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. I really enjoy hearing from you and hearing everything that you have to say. So I'm planning on sharing with you what I have done in 2017 as far as stitching goes. And yeah, I know we're already in the second week of January, but I just haven't had a chance to really film a video. We've had a really good Christmas. We spent it at home with our family and really enjoyed just being together. I remember Christmas Eve, we had some time when we didn't really have anything to do, and we were just sitting in our living room talking, and one of my sons said, "How long has it been since we've actually just sat around together and talked?" And it had been a long time, and it was really great to just be able to enjoy one another's company. The first week in January we spent in Utah and Idaho. We spent quite a bit of time and actually celebrated New Year's with my family, and then we also spent some time in Utah. One of the things that we had to do is we had to get my son moved into his apartment. He is starting school at Utah State, starting his first semester there, and we had to get him all moved in, make sure that he had everything that he needed, and give him a little bit of help with his groceries for a little while. So we spent quite a bit of time doing that. We also dropped my daughter back off at school, and I've come back here. So with all of that traveling and having the family around here, the whole time I just didn't have a chance to really film anything at the end of the month, at the end of the year. So I'm doing it now. I want to thank you for all of your comments. I haven't really had anybody ask me any questions lately. I've had on Instagram, I've had lots of people ask me details about my diagonal stitching, and I actually think that I finally figured out how to do a good video of me stitching, so that I can kind of show you the way I stitch. I know I still have a lot of people who look at what I do and are a little bit they still ask questions about about the things that I do. So I think that I finally figured out how to make a good video of that, and I'm going to try doing a Stitch With Me video and share some of the things that I've learned. One other thing, it's in my family, it's kind of an open secret that I make these videos. I mean, everybody knows about it, but nobody has really been all that interested in me doing that. And my son, who was away, when I was working on my last video, he actually saw that I was editing a video, and nobody had told him that I'd been doing this, even when he got home from Mexico. And so he had to ask me about what I was doing, and I had to explain it to him. And he said, "Well, does anybody watch these videos?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And he looked up my channel and saw that I had how many views I had, and he was actually a little bit shocked. He was surprised that I had as many views as I did, and I didn't realize that I had over 50,000 views. And then he's like, "Well, how many subscribers do you have?" And I told him, and he was like, "I can't believe this." So then, ever since then, he's been giving me a bunch of crap. He's like said stuff like, "So, I've never really liked the way my voice sounds when it's recorded." And I said, "Yeah, neither have I." And he says, "Well, I was just wondering if YouTube stars get used to hearing their own voice." And then he said something like, is there a support group for children of successful YouTube stars? I mean, he's just giving me all sorts of crap about my channel, but it's been kind of fun. So he might be watching this. I know he's subscribed to my channel. I don't know if he's actually watched anything. He watched my most popular video, which is the video where I explain my diagonal stitching, and he said to me, "Why is that so popular? Why is that one the one that's so popular?" And then he started asking me questions about how I stitch, just picking up some of the stuff that I talked about. So I know he subscribed to my channel. So son, if you are listening, hi. It's just been kind of fun to have him do that. And anyway, let's get to why we're really here and get to the stitching. So let's talk a little bit about what I did in 2017. And what I'll just say is 2017 was a banner year for cross stitch. At least it was for me. And I just have a few statistics that I'm going to share with you to kind of illustrate why that's the case. Okay, so in 2017, at the beginning of the year, I had 9 whips and was feeling a little bit uncomfortable with having that many whips. At the end of 2017, I had 8 whips. So I think I've said a couple of times that I've tried to drive down the number of whips that I have. I'm headed in the right direction. I actually would have done better, except for I did 2 starts in December, and I don't feel bad about those starts at all, because I really wanted to have something that was really Christmassy that I could stitch. And so I'm very happy. I don't feel bad about that at all. So, but I am headed in the right direction. We'll see what we can do in 2018. In 2017, I had 5 starts. That is 3 less than the number of starts than I had in 2016. So, and I think that's part of the reason why my whips have remained about constant. I had 6 finishes in 2017. And I know for a lot of you that may sound like a small number, but considering that I work on huge projects and that is actually a personal record for me, I am really quite happy about that. 6 finishes, and I'm really happy with that. I stitched 328 days, and that is actually 9 days more than I stitched in 2016. So I even stitched more. And here's the statistic I like the most, and I shared this last year too, so I really like this. I stitched 225,903 stitches, and of course what I really mean is I covered that much area in my charts. That is actually 48,493 more stitches than I did in 2016. So 48,000 more stitches. I'm really quite shocked that I hit over 250,000 stitches. That's 250,000 stitches. Wow. Anyway, that's really cool. Just to drive the point home, I'll share with you a couple of my charts. First of all, the first chart that I'm going to show you is my chart that shows my monthly stitch trend, just for completeness, so that you can see how I did in December as compared to the other months. You'll see the number of stitches that I put in actually increased, and that's because I started one of the projects that I started has a bunch of negative space, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But that's why the number of stitches went up. I was able to cover a little bit more area on my charts. You'll see the number of days that I stitched is staying right about the same. I'm really happy with what I was able to do in December. This chart is the number of days that I stitched on each of the projects that I worked on, and you can see that I actually worked on quite a few projects. Several of these, of course, are finishes, and one of the things that's really interesting here is I spent so much time on Autumn Magic. I'm kind of surprised by that, And then all the others are you know, about it looks like on the projects that I really worked on, I stitched about a month on those projects. And then there's some that I've started during the year, and they're a little bit lower. If you were to add up all of these numbers, you would probably get a number greater than 365. And the reason for that is there were days when I stitched on more than one project. So just to be honest with that. This graph is the number of stitches that I put in on each project. And there's no surprise here that Corazon Sampler is the winner. That piece had a lot of negative space, and I could really cover a lot of space quickly. And A Forest Grew is another piece that I also had a lot of negative space on, and it makes sense that that would be the second largest in stitch wise. Everything else seems to be about the same. So you'll notice I spent so much time on Auto Magic, but only put in about 22,000 stitches. That's just because of the confetti that is in that project. Here's the number of starts. This is my start trend over the year. And I actually found this kind of interesting when I was looking at it. You'll notice that in 2016, I kind of went crazy with starts. I had 8 starts in 2016. And 2017, I dropped down to 5 starts, which I'm kind of happy with. If you look at the next graph, which is the number of finishes, you'll notice that in 2016, I had a lot of starts, but I didn't have a lot of finishes. And 2017 has kind of been the reverse. I kind of have a theory that the fact that I had fewer starts gave me the ability to have more finishes. I don't know if that's necessarily the truth. It may be that I just did a lot of stitching in 2016 that laid the foundation for all of my finishes in 2017. It may be one of those two things. Anyway, and then here is my whip trend, just to show you how the number of whips that I have has changed over the months. And you'll see that I hit a high, and now I'm, if you kind of look, there's kind of a negative trend to that yellow line from the peak. And so I'm happy with that. And I'm hoping to drive that yellow line lower in 2018. So those are my statistics. Those are my graphs. I really am happy with, like I say, it's been a banner cross-stitch year. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you, just to review, we'll just quickly review the pieces that I finished last year, because I love these pieces and I want to brag about them again. Yeah. The first finish that I had was, of course, my Verandas of South Battery. This is a design by Graphs by Barbara and Cheryl. It's a street scene in Charleston, South Carolina. And I started this on, well, I don't know when I started this. I started this back before I was keeping records. I think it was in 2005 or 2006 sometime. Anyway, I finished it on April 11th, 2017. And since I started keeping records, I stitched on this for 60 days. One of the things that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a picture of what this looked like at the beginning of 2017. So you can kind of get a feel for how much of this I stitched in 2017. So we'll insert that picture here, and you can take a look at it. And you'll notice, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot done. Only basically a part of a couple houses. And of course, this is the finished piece. And like I say, this is a piece that I started a long time ago, and I never thought I'd finish it because it was so big. And I kind of, at the time, I got a little bit discouraged with it. But my learning how to park made this piece a lot easier, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'll give you a close-up one more time of all of these houses. Yeah. I love this piece. It's been a long time since I've had it out too, so it's nice to kind of look at it again and enjoy it. So there's my Verandas of South Battery. It's stitched on 32 count platinum even weave using DMC and DMC floss. Okay, the next finish that I had was this is Red by Mirabilia. I started Red on February 22nd, 2016, and I finished her on April 23rd, 2017. So basically about 14 months. I actually stitched on her for 58 days. So that's about, once again, about 2 months. Of course, this is a design by Mirabilia, and I stitched it on 32 count French lace linen. And once again, I'll insert a picture of what she looked like at the beginning of the year, just to see. And you'll see with this picture that I had quite a bit of her finished. And so now this is the finished project. Of course, I love her too. She was really fun to stitch, and I learned a lot. This is the first piece that I've done that is heavily beaded. I love her beads. I love the way she looks. So there she is. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up. Maybe you can see some of the beads when I do this. But yeah, so there's Red. That was my second finish. My third finish was the Season Sampler, and this was a stitch along that was done by Abi Gurden of Bees Needleworks. I will insert a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2017. I stitched this on 28 count Lambswool Jobelan, and I started it on August 13, 2016 and finished it on April 27th, 2017. And of course, this is what it looks like finished. Of course, I like how this turned out. I kind of got in over my head with this one a little bit, and these bottom two seasons were kind of difficult for me to do. Some of the specialty stitches in here turned out to be really difficult, but I like the overall effect. It looks very nice. So there's my Season Sampler. Okay, my next finish. This is, my next finish was the Corazon Sampler, which of course is a design by CloRaMi Designs. She's a designer in Belgium. And this is a red alphabet sampler. I stitched this on 36 count Edinburgh linen, and I stitched it with DMC 815. Let me see. I started this on June 13th, 2016 and finished it on August 1st, 2017. It's a total, but I stitched on it 58 days, so again, 2 months. There seems to be a running theme to all of this. I'll insert a picture here of what this looked like at the beginning of the year. So you'll see I only had about the top third of this done. And this is what it looks like all stitched once more. Man, and I have to really step back in order to fit it all in. Oh, yeah, this is a real treat, and it's showing up a lot darker than it does in real life. In real life, it's more red, but I just really loved this one. I really loved all these alphabets and all of the little motifs in there, like that dog. This this dog up here between the C and the D. Oh, the rabbit. I love the heart in the middle. And the crane, the heron that's down here. Yeah, I just love this piece too. And it was really fun and actually really fast to stitch. So I really enjoyed that. And then my fifth finish was actually a start for 2017. So this was a start and a finish. When I go over my starts, I'm not going to do this one again. So this counts as a start. This, of course, is my duck. This is Pintail. It was a design that was in the, oh, now I've forgotten, For the Love of Cross Stitch in a previous, in an old, I think it was like November 1994 issue. I'll put it down below in case you're looking for this. And I won't insert a picture of what it looked like because it didn't exist at the beginning of the year. But this is what it looks like now. And of course, this is a duck decoy, a pintail duck. I really like my duck too. He was really fun to work on. So there's that. Let's see. This pintail I started on May 31st, 2017, and I finished on September 5th, 2017. But it only took me 17 days to stitch total that I actually stitched on it. So yeah, and there's the smaller piece, doesn't take as much time, right? Okay, and then my final finish for 2017 is And a Forest Grew. So this is a design by Rosewood Manor. Sorry. This is a design by Rosewood Manor. I stitched it on 32 count Antique White Lugana. And of course, I'll insert a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of the year. And I started And a Forest Grew on August 14th, 2016. I finished it on October 28th, 2017. And I stitched on it for 62 days. So 2 months. 2 months. Wow, that must be a common thread. It'll be interesting to see if that holds true. But this is what it looks like now. And of course, I just love this piece too. I just love it. It's so, I love those trees. And I've noticed that there's some other people who have started working on this. It's so fun to work on. I hope if you're working on this, I hope that you have as much fun with it as I did. Okay, so those are my finishes for 2017. Okay, so finishes. Let's talk about my whips. So these are the pieces that I was working on at the beginning of 2017, and they're the pieces that I'm still working on. I have a few of those. The first one is Autumn Magic. And of course, this is a design. This is a design by Randal Spangler. And it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's the house in a fall setting. And I talked about this last, but I'll insert a picture of what this looked like at the beginning of the year. And I'm stitching this on 25 count Antique White Lugana, and I am stitching at 1/1. And you'll see, you're going to see this is actually a little bit motivating to me, because when I look at what it looked like at the beginning of 2017 versus what it looks like now, it really makes me realize that I've made a lot more progress on this than I really think. So this is what it looks like now. So I stitched like all of this through here in 2017. And I'm actually pretty happy with that. I mentioned in my last video that this one is kind of inactive. I'm still not planning on working on it anytime soon, but seeing that I actually did quite a bit in 2017 makes me want to do a little bit more. The next piece that my next whip, this is in the order of age. So Autumn Magic is now my oldest whip. This next whip is Winter Sampler. Of course, this is a design by Sandy Orton of Kooler Design Studio. And this is what it will look like when it's finished. And I'll insert a picture of what this looked like at the beginning of 2017. And I'm stitching this on 28 count Tea Dyed Monaco. And this is what it looks like now. And I've got to say this, of course, part of this, I've been stitching on this since the 26th of December. So some of this progress is 2018 progress, but I'm really happy with the progress that I've made. This snowman is finished, and I'm just about finished with this nighttime village band. And look at how much I've been able to do with the skating scene. Yeah. I think a little while ago I complained about all the white. I think I am through the worst of the white. I've just got a little bit like this to do of the white. Oh, in the winter. You can see we're starting to see the winter. This is going to be Wonderland down here when it's back stitched. We've got a W and an I showing up. And I've actually started working on this heart over here. So that's kind of exciting. I feel like I've hit kind of a milestone to actually start something over here. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. And I've been stitching on this for a couple of weeks, and I am not tired of it. I am still enjoying it. I am motivated by the fact that my diagonals are starting to get smaller, and just really love how it's looking out. So in 2017, I basically stitched this whole band right here. And yeah, so that is really turning out good. I am really happy with that. Okay, the next piece that I'm going to show you is, hold on just a sec. My next whip is English Garden Sampler. This is a design by Teresa Wentzler, and this is what it will look like when it's finished. And I will insert a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2017. This I'm stitching on 25 count Lugana. And I'm stitching with Sullivan's floss instead of DMC. And as you can see, in 2017, I finished the border. And now this one, yeah, this is what it looks like now. And you'll notice this is probably one that I haven't had a whole lot of progress on since I've considering that it's been a year since I showed you that last picture. I've basically worked on this. Part of the reason is that this has kind of been neglected because I've started concentrating on one or two pieces at a time, and it's been a long time since I've stitched this. But yeah, I'm happy with this, and I hope to continue to work on it. Okay, now let's see. My next whip that I'm going to show you is a beautiful C stitch along. I have not shown you this for a very long time, and it hasn't really changed a whole lot. I'm going to insert a picture of it, what it looked like at the beginning of 2017. Of course, this was a stitch along that was hosted by Eric Shipley of Ship's Manor. I worked on this for a while, and then I kind of got tired of it, and I haven't finished it. But this is what it looks like so far. I'm actually about halfway through. Yeah, almost halfway. A little bit less than halfway. If I finished this over here, then I'd be halfway. But this is what it looks like so far. Like I say, I kind of got tired of this, but I think that I'm going to try to pick this up again and finish it. Sorry, I keep hitting my tripod. Okay, so those are all the whips that I'm carrying over from the beginning of 2017 to the end of 2017. And now I'm going to show you everything that I've started in 2017, minus Pintail. Pintail I've already shown you. So the next start that I had is my Let Freedom Ring sampler. This I started on March 17, 2017. So on St. Patrick's Day I started. And of course this is a design by Lila's Studio. I'm stitching this on 32 count cream linen. It's Belfast linen too. And I am stitching with the recommended threads. Yeah. There is a Facebook group. I'm posting a stitch along group. I'll link to it below. If you are stitching this, and I know there's a ton of people stitching this, feel free to join us. We've had some finishes, which is, for me, is kind of embarrassing because I haven't worked on this for a very long time. If you've probably seen Ginger Gerald finish this last month. Gerald, I'm kind of jealous because I want this done. So this is going to be one of my priorities for the next year. This is how much I've done. I've done the entire bottom border, and I've started working on Independence Hall. And I've been away from this one long enough that I'm starting to get the itch to work on it again. So that's going to be something that you'll see me working on pretty soon. The next piece that I started, and this one, I started and worked on it for about a week, and I haven't touched it since. This is Midsummer Roses by Paula Vaughn. I am stitching this on, Midsummer Roses by Paula Vaughn. This is what it will look like when it's finished. I was enabled by Andrea, I Heart Cross Stitch, to stitch this. And I'm stitching it on 32 count cream linen. This is what it looks like now. So I've only done just this little bit. This is another one that I'm starting to get the itch to stitch because I've kind of missed it. Even though I only worked on it for a week, I've kind of, it feels really neglected. So let's see. I started Midsummer Roses on July 8th, 2017. And I stitched on it for about a week, and I haven't touched it since. So I need to get working on that. The next start that I did is this. I showed you this last month, and I haven't done anything on it since you last saw it. But I'm really enjoying this. This is The Spirit of Christmas by Lavender and Lace, and I will show you a picture of what it will look like. Of course, it's Santa. I'm stitching it on the called for 28 count or 32 count. I think it's 32. I think it's 32, but if you want to know for sure, it'll be in the comments below. 32 count raw linen, and this is what he looks like so far. This has been truly a joy to stitch, as I mentioned before, and I look forward to stitching this again. I think it'll probably is going to go away for a while, just because Christmas, and I've got other priorities that I want to work on before I come back to this. But I am really happy with how this is turning out so far. I love those reds and those greens. I think my hope is that I'll have this finished for Christmas this year. Okay, and then this is one that I have not shown you. And this is the other start that I did. And this is Dina half stitch, cross stitch. This is kind of your fault. Dina started this, and I've had this for a couple of years, and I just decided I've got to start this. And this is a Quaker Christmas 2 by Bygone Stitches. This is what it looks like. Sorry for the glare. That's not a very good picture. You can't see everything. But I really love this because it has Christmas songs embedded in it, and I love music, and I love singing, and I love Christmas songs, and I just really wanted to stitch this because of that. I'm stitching it on 28 count ivory Jobelan, and I am stitching it with the called for threads, which is Gentle Arts Currant and Blue Spruce. Anyway, I decided, Dina started at the top, I decided to start at the bottom just because. And this is how much I've been able to do. So we've got, for the songs we've got so far is Away in a Manger, 12 Days of Christmas, Joy to the World, The Little Drummer Boy, and I look forward to working on this again. I didn't think about this when I started it, but I got towards the end of December, and I thought, you know what? If I work on this, I'm going to have Christmas songs running through my head all the time. And I'm one of those purists that, well, I'm not as much. My wife is a purist in that you can't start Christmas music until after November. I'm more like a after Halloween type of guy. But I just couldn't bear the thought of having Christmas songs running through my mind after Christmas. So after Christmas, I stopped working on this. And I don't think I'm going to work on it until towards the end of the year. This may be a piece that kind of hangs around just because of that. Anyway, those are all of my starts for 2017. And that's everything I worked on for 2017. Like I say, I am really happy with my progress. I'm happy with everything that I accomplished. It has been a great cross-stitch year for me. And I'm for 2018, this is kind of what I'm thinking. I have enjoyed not really having a rotation. I've decided that I like getting a lot of progress on a piece before I move on to something else. And so rather than setting a rotation or anything like that, what I'm planning on doing is I have prioritized my whips. And I've prioritized them on the ones that I want to really work on, or ones that I want to finish. And I am thinking, just looking at what I've got going right now, I am thinking that I could very easily get 4 or maybe 5 finishes for this year. I'll be interested. I'm not setting that as a goal. I don't. This is something fun. I don't need to set goals, but I am going to set priorities. So this is the order of my priorities. This is what I want to work on. My first priority is Winter Sampler. I really have been feeling a big push to get that finished. And so that is what I'm working on right now. And I don't know, I may get tired of it, but as of right now, I'm planning on working on Winter Sampler until it's finished. Just because I feel that much of an urge to finish it. My second priority is Let Freedom Ring. I kind of feel guilty because I haven't worked on that for a while, and there's been people in the Facebook group that have actually finished it, and here I am, I haven't worked on it for a while. So that's my second priority, is to finish Let Freedom Ring. My third priority, I think, is English Garden Sampler. I don't know. I like that piece, but there's another sampler of Teresa Wensler's that I like even better. And there's part of me that wants to start that other sampler. So, but I would really love to I would really love to finish English Garden Sampler. And I think that there is less there than it looks like, because there's the scene across the top. I still have a ways to go with that, and it is like really, I think there's more confetti in that than there is in my in Autumn Magic. Actually, it's really confetti heavy. But I think once I finish that, I think the rest of what's left to stitch is not quite as bad. So I think that's my third priority. It's either my third or my fourth priority. So these two are kind of right up next to each other. Fourth priority, Midsummer Roses. I would love to stitch on that some more. It feels, like I said, it feels really neglected, and I would love to work on that some more. And then after those, probably towards the fall, I will probably get out Spirit of Christmas and Quaker Christmas too, and stitch those. We'll see what happens, but right now I'm not really in a Christmas cross-stitch mood. That may come up, and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to make any predictions, but I do know that those will become priorities as we get closer to the year. I thought about sharing with you some of the pieces that I thought I might start, but when I start doing that, I get this great big long list, and I know there's no way that I'm going to be able to start everything in this great big long list. So I'm just gonna say I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to have another couple starts. I don't know when. I don't know how. That'll come up. I think that I do want to do one of my ducks for sure. Just to keep that series going. They go really fast, and I would love to finish that series up. So I think that's a good possibility. Anything else, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, though, that's what I have. I hope that you have had a great holiday season, and that you're starting to get back to the grind of normal life. At any rate, as always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I always love hearing from you and hearing your comments. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask me. I will do my best to answer them. And as always, thank you. We will see you in a little bit, probably for my February update, if I don't do a Stitch With Me video before then. At any rate, have a great month, and we will talk to you later. Goodbye.